Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Total Media Network's Dr. Christopher Hall Show. And I'm excited to welcome to the program Dr. Hall. Dr. Hall, how are you? Again, thank you for your service. And it looks like this coronavirus, remember when we first started and you started doing a bunch of shows, you were the expert. And now it's like, holy cow, we're in 5th month already. I wouldn't have thought that. And looks like it's going to be going on for a while.
Yeah, there are lots of surprises. I mean, you know, again, there's this second wave that's coming, and really, particularly here in the South, we're seeing the case.
Chris, Chris, go ahead. You stopped. You like slowed down completely.
Okay. No, I said, yeah, I'm very excited about the guest that we have today.
All right, so go ahead and introduce our guest.
Well, no problem. It's my pleasure to introduce an actress of film, television, a writer, a very inspirational guest. I'd like to introduce Miss Ashli Haynes.
Hey, Ashley.
Welcome to the show, man.
Thanks for stopping by.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's Ashli Haynes.
He said Haynes. I think he said Haynes. Maybe
yeah, Ashli Haynes. It's this.
Yeah. He said it. It was just hard to hear him. No, Ashley, how are you surviving the quarantine? Tell us what your routine is and what you're doing.
Wow, oh my gosh. I think I'm just surviving as best as I can, just like anybody else, right? I've been reading a lot, writing a lot, limiting my time outdoors. I've been spending a lot of time indoors. Meditation has helped me tremendously. Yeah, I think it's really important to stay informed, but also stay grounded and really take care of yourself during this time. So that's
Great point. Take care of yourself, because again, you're so used to a certain routine, and that changes. It can really have a lot of mental health effects and also physical effects if you don't really stay grounded and figure out and have a plan and learn from the differences. All right, Dr. Hall, first question for Ashley.
Sure, no problem. Well, Ashley, tell us a little about kind of where you grew up and a little bit about your background.
Okay, so I actually grew up on the East Coast. Originally, I'm from New York, and I was born in Manhattan, and I spent my early years in the Bronx, and then I moved to New Jersey. And my early background is really in theater, like off Broadway theater. I was a part of a conservatory company called City Kids, which is really big in New York. A few stars have actually come out of it: Lauryn Hill, Donald Faison. And others, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
How did you get that acting bug? Who gave you the acting bug?
Oh, well, it's funny. I've always known from the age of 3, really, that I wanted to be an actress. I was actually sitting in my living room watching The Cosby Show, and there was a scene between Olivia, who's played by Raven-Symoné, and Bill Cosby. And they were like in the living room too, sitting on the couch. And I just turned to my mom and I was like, I want to do that. And then we just took it on from there. It was wild. She like took my headshots and became my manager and shopped me around and would pick me up after school, and we'd go to auditions and like crazy.
And how old were you when you started to get headshots and all that?
3 years old. I was 3 years old.
Oh my gosh! Wow. You get that dream, and you had it early for sure.
Yeah, it's amazing. I say to my friends all the time, like, it's crazy how I'm still chasing the dream of my 3-year-old self. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's amazing when you know what you want to do that early on, but I don't think that's common. But having that period of exploration is fun too, I'm sure. So I don't know. I guess I'm just interesting.
All right. So Dr. Hall, next question.
Yeah, that is very interesting. So, and you know, that's kind of, I think, how a lot of young people, you know, really find some things they want to go into. They'll see it on TV, and that'd be very encouraging. So tell us a little about writing, though. You also are a writer. Tell us a little about that.
I've always had a really vivid imagination, and I've always been a great storyteller. And writing is just one of those things that comes naturally to me. So I've done a little, like I've written some short films. I wrote a feature, but I also just write like streamline writing where I just share my thoughts on, on whatever. So yeah.
The short but sweet, but it's something you could do a lot during the pandemic, right? Is right. You can
Absolutely. Absolutely. I have so many ideas. I'm just so inspired and appreciative of this time because now, we've had months really to breathe and maybe explore things that we hadn't because of priorities, right? So I feel like the pandemic is definitely a curse, but a blessing in some ways as well.
Makes complete sense. Okay, Dr. Hall, next question.
Well, interesting. Wow. Well, tell us about that very first acting.
Just give me a sec. He just went slow again. Dr. Hall, can you repeat that question one more time? You slowed down. Go over the next question.
Oh, no problem.
Yeah.
Oh, no problem. I was just wondering about her very first acting gig, how she felt and what that was like.
Oh, that's funny. So my very first acting gig was actually a Public Enemy music video. And they casted a bunch of kids. I was 3 years old at the time. My dad took me to the job, and they were casting kids as angels and devils. And I forget, I think I wanted to be a devil, but I ended up being an angel. They paid us in M&Ms. Like, I don't even know if it was legal at the time, but I was just so happy and like excited to be a part of this thing, even though I guess, I feel like I kind of intuitively knew what was happening and going on, but I mean, at the same time, when you're that young, do you really know?
No, I can't believe you're remembering all this at 3. That's impressive.
Yeah, it definitely left an imprint for sure.
Are you an only child?
No, I have 2 younger siblings, but my sister, I didn't get my sister until I was 7, about to turn 8. And then my brother was born when I was 12, about to turn 13.
So you were the baby meaning baby for the first child. So
yeah, exactly.
So they take you everywhere. Okay. Right. So you can remember everything because you had that vivid imagination from being the only one for a while.
Exactly.
And that's how you can remember those things. If you were stuck in the middle or older or the youngest, you probably wouldn't remember those things because you have those experiences with adults a lot and less siblings. So that's how you can remember at 3 years old that experience and just different experiences when you started acting. A lot of people don't. So that's based on your age. I mean, based on you being the only one at first. So.
Right. Yeah, I could see that. That makes a lot of sense.
Okay, Dr. Hall, next question. If he's getting there. Go ahead, Dr. Hall.
Oh yeah, no problem. Well, I think that we know Ashli a lot from that BET series 20s. Tell us about how you were able to land that role there and your experience with that.
20s was such a blessing. Like that opportunity, it was divinely gifted to me. Like that was just, I mean, I auditioned for it, but the way it all worked out. So I was actually, I had said years ago when Lena Waithe had just kind of hit the scene that I wanted to work with her. Like I believe that I manifested that in a way, right? So I had seen her episode on Master of None, the Thanksgiving episode, and I was just so excited about the writing and what she was doing for the industry. Like that was basically a snapshot of the Black family in a way that we'd never seen before. And, a year later, I saw her speak at a talk, and during this film festival. And then I think the following year, I actually went to Sundance with this project called Leimert Park. I was one of the 3 leads, and it was produced by Macro and Homegrown Pictures. Homegrown produces Dear White People, and Macro produces a bunch of films. Fences is one of them.
Okay.
Anyway, so at Sundance, Lena actually came to the screening of Leimert Park. And she knew everyone, like she had relationships with everyone who was involved in the filmmaking process. And so I've kind of found myself like on the outskirts of their interactions. But I wasn't ever officially introduced to her. So like, it was like such a close call, and I was so excited, but then kind of bummed when it didn't work out. Anyway, fast forward 2 years, and I have this audition for Twenties, but at the same time, I booked a gig, and so I had to work. And so I told my manager, I was like, you know, I really want to do this, but I have this gig, you know, this other obligation. I'd love to put myself on tape, but I can't actually go in the room to audition. And so he said, okay, that's fine. So he let casting know, and they let me put myself on tape. And I was really excited about the role. But then at the same time, when you put yourself on tape, when everybody else is actually auditioning in person, like it definitely makes it more complicated or difficult to actually book the gig, because it's always better to see casting directors in person so they get a feel for your personality. So I put myself on tape. I felt good about the tape, but then at the same time, I was kind of discouraged because I didn't get to go in the room, and I just thought, oh, I'm not going to get it. I blew my shot, you know? And then I think maybe 2 weeks later had passed, and by that time I had assumed that I hadn't gotten it because I didn't hear anything, but I actually had, and which is why I say I kind of manifested it, and that job was really a blessing meant for me, because the odds in a way were kind of stacked against me, and then I booked it. So
Awesome. And so in that experience, tell us about Twenties. I want to learn about the show.
Oh, right. So Twenties is a comedic series on BET created by Lena Waithe, and it's loosely based on her life, her experience of moving to LA in her early 20s and pursuing a career in writing. And so the main character is a lesbian. She's a masculine presenting lesbian. And we just kind of see her navigate her way through life in your 20s, because like your 20s are kind of, everybody's 20s are kind of, you know, wild, and it's a time in your life where you are faced with various challenges and trying to figure out what adulthood is all about. And so my character is Courtney. I play her work nemesis. She actually, the main character, Hattie, played by Jonica T. Gibbs, she comes to You Go Girl Productions, which is where I work, and as an office PA, and she gets the job. She ends up getting hired for the job that I wanted, so I hate her. and there's a nice, you know, back and forth chemistry relationship between us.
Interesting. Okay.
If you know what I mean, like in obviously like a confrontational kind of way, rather than you know. But who knows?
Very interesting. Go ahead, Dr. Hall. Next question.
Yeah, that is very interesting. Wow. So, and you know, and you know, there are some challenges too that, you know, young people have, and you know, in their 20s and just trying to make it in life. So, what about any future upcoming projects that you have coming out? Tell us about that.
Wow, so that's all yet to be determined, really, just based on the current situation of COVID. I had booked an independent film before COVID happened, and then when we were all in quarantine, we had a table read, but I haven't really heard anything now because filming is kind of at a halt. But I'll be sure to keep you posted as soon as I find out.
We're all waiting for COVID to be done, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Dr. Hall's our great opportunity to tell us exactly when it will be, right, Dr. Hall? Predictions now, you keep changing them, don't you?
Well, that's the thing with this virus. It keeps changing, and so we're seeing a changing environment. Again, I think in California now they're starting to, kind of go back to a little more restrictions where they're trying to open. So, yeah, it just changes so quickly.
Because they just don't know, and then we're going to see Europe again, and there's changes and stuff like that. So, looking, Ashley, at specifically writing in general and stuff, are you going to utilize that to try to get something going project-wise based on that? Because you have the time.
Absolutely. I feel more inspired now than I have in a really long time, and I've been working on a few things, and I'm really interested to see which one actually takes off. Fortunately, I have a great team behind me, so they're open. My manager in particular, is very open to reading my work, supporting my work, and helping me and packaging it however he can. So I'm really excited.
So, is it poetry or fiction? What are you writing?
Oh, right. So screenplays. That's
okay.
Yeah, that's what I'm writing right now. But I mean, I've also written, like I said, thought pieces as well. And that stuff I just really post online. So if you're ever interested in seeing my writing, just add me on Facebook.
Awesome.
Yeah, I'm going to do that. I'm going to definitely add her. I'm going to add you on my Facebook.
All right, go ahead. Go ahead, Dr. Hall, and summarize Ashley.
Wow. Well,
Okay, we'll slow him down for a sec. Dr. Hall, you stopped again. So do it
energy.
Again. Okay. You have to summarize again.
Oh, yeah, no problem. I was saying it. Yeah. No, I was saying basically she is just a bubble of energy, very inspirational. She's a role model, really, for a lot of young people out here who want to become successful, in Hollywood. And so her energy has lifted us up, particularly in this very difficult time with this coronavirus. So very excited that you came on the show today, Ashley.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. You're very kind.
You know what, Ashley, I'm going to have to start asking is what stuff can we catch back up with you? We could catch up with you on the show 20s, but also other things that we could have seen you in that we can watch you now. Because that's the thing now, because we're not going to be promoting current stuff. Let's think about some of the other stuff you were part of that you, what else would you say to check out of your work?
Okay. So I believe all of the episodes of 20s are on BET. So that's where you can see that. You're the Worst. So are you familiar with that show?
No, tell me about the show. I'm not.
Oh, okay. So You're the Worst aired on FXX. I played Jacqueline, who's the wife of one of the guys. The character's name is Shitstain. I was hesitant to actually say it, but anyway. So You're the Worst. It's a comedy. I'm sure, as you could probably tell. What else have I been in? I've had smaller roles on This Is Us and Life in Pieces. What else? I don't know. It's all just a blur, right? I was on Switched at Birth. So yeah.
I think I would just give you those two. You said You're the Worst and 20s. They got to check out. So that's something to think about in your interviews now. Is can't promote stuff after. So go back and watch my stuff, because again, that's what happens. Certain shows get a rebirth during pandemics. So go back and watch those shows and check you out. Then it just keeps you going till finally it opens back up again. So that's that would be my recommendation and promotion. You got other stuff, catch back up. Did you hear that The Sopranos is like one of the highest rated shows right now because of the pandemic? People are going back and watching things they never watched before or watching it again. So it's always great to promote older projects, which is hard, but guess what? We're going to get through this soon. So where can we follow you, Ashley? Where's the best place we can follow you and stuff? It's social media wise.
Right. The best place you can follow me is on Instagram. So it's just at Ashli Haynes, ASHLIHAYNES. And I'm also on Twitter. Sometimes I tweet. Same thing, Ashli Haynes. Yeah. Instagram
Be ready, because you'll be
and Twitter. And
when we air it, we'll be going on Twitter for the radio podcast interviews, radio show. So just be ready for that tweet, because I'm bringing my team back together again. I need this because I keep getting busier. I've gotten busier in the pandemic, which is hilarious, while everyone else is slowing down.
Yeah.
You guys are all available to talk to every second now. Before it wasn't like that. So I appreciate you stopping by, and thanks for coming on Dr. Christopher Hall Show.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me.
All right.
Thank you.
Okay, guys. Thanks. Okay. See ya.
Bye.
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 All right. That was the Dr. Christopher Hall Show, everyone.